Hour number 2 of the program. We go till 3, and we will have a little fun at 12:30 with Will Carroll, the injury expert. A lot of things to ask him about, obviously. We've got Tevin Coleman with the shoulder. Will he play in the Super Bowl? That is the question. We can ask Will about Tua, get the latest on anything that he's heard about Tua. So many things to keep up with. And as always, we thank you for checking us out, whether you're watching us live on YouTube, and of course, all of you that are downloading the program. We love you for always downloading the program and the amazing support that you're giving us. And right now, as we speak, downloads are absolutely blowing freaking up. And
the front end of the show that was a little bit blah, both are up, the segment and the hour.
Yeah, so if you guys missed the beginning that you were YouTubing and we screwed up there in the first 15 minutes, we've got you. We've got the audio for you. It's there because we're recording it. So obviously, because we've got to podcast it all. But we thank all of you out there as always for supporting the show, man. We really do.
Thank you, guys. You're awesome.
Big time way. Big time. Let's see what we got here on the YouTube chat board. What do we have here? Let's see. Drafting is always a gamble no matter who it is. What if we listened to everyone who said we wouldn't be anything in life? We can't be trying to put these kids in a box when we really are just guessing. With that said, draft Tua, grab another QB later in the draft or even free agency. If the price is right, point is, we should look at every possibility to find our QB, whatever it takes. Hashtag fins up. 420 Fuego, I love your thinking, dude. I love it. Because that's what I've been saying for years, man. Just keep aggressively going after quarterbacks. Don't be afraid. If you don't take them, you'll never find out if you get one. And if you're rarely ever going to dip into the quarterback market, then the few times you have bad experiences, it's going to turn you off from doing it again and again and again. You cannot be afraid. You are going to fail. Okay? We are all going to fail in life. There's nothing wrong with that. How do you approach that failure? You try to learn from it. You try to overcome it. You try it not to happen again. That's what you do. You don't give up. And that's what it seems like with our Dolphins, that they basically just gave up over the years in trying to find a quarterback. They never brought in any kind of talent to compete against Ryan. Chris Greer takes over, and he brings in 2 quarterbacks, an old one, and he trades for a young one. And he'll draft another one this year. That's 3 quarterbacks in a calendar year from the new guy that takes over. That's what I want in my front office. I don't know about you guys, but I'm good. I like what I'm seeing from the Dolphins. I think they're handling it all in a perfect manner, pretty much. Okay? You're going to make some mistakes, but, hey, I expect that. That's fine. What you can't be is a constant screw-up, and that's not what's happening anymore. And like I've said already a couple times, think about where you were in week 2 of the season, and then think about where you were mentally after week 17. After week 2, you thought this was going to be the worst season of my life as a Dolphins fan. My Lord, I cannot follow this season. Then as the season went on, it got better and better and better and better. And then by the end of the season, you're like, wait a minute. You know what? These guys aren't that bad anymore. They're actually competitive, and they have very little to no talent at all on this team. Damn, those guys can coach. There you go. All you need now is to add more talent, and you'll get it done. You'll find a way. That's all. I just be patient, folks. I get it. It's tough after all the time that's been going on for 20 years, but it's a different ball game now. 786-322-1105 is the accidentlawfirm.com text line. If you want to get in on the show, that's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the show. We've got the Heat off tonight. Monday, They will host the Magic at 7:30 at the AAA. Now, the Magic are in action tonight. They are hosting the Clippers here. Now, I don't know how many of you were on social media yesterday, but one of the videos that went viral yesterday was Kawhi Leonard. And they caught Kawhi at a strip club, and he was in the champagne room, obviously, with several strippers. And he's there in his New Balance hoodie at a strip club. And the video was, the video is just Kawhi there, and there's this one girl shaking her ass in front of him. And then there's several other girls. The champagne room was loaded, obviously. It's Kawhi Leonard. And I think Patrick Beverley, I believe, was the other player that was there. And the comments from the people on social media. In fact, I think I caught you, Armando, in Miami. I know you follow on Twitter. I don't know if you're watching now, but I think you put Kawhi working on his load management or something like that. I thought that was funny. And it's just, people were commenting, well, now we know why Kawhi can't play on back-to-back nights. The only thing I'm wondering about all of this is, you're Kawhi Leonard, bro. Wherever you go, you're going to bring attention. And you go to the strip club and you go to a champagne room that is exposed to the outside. And my man, you got to be smarter than that. You got to go to the champagne rooms that are enclosed, where you're not exposed to the regular people outside. And they can't see you and they can't film you.
Behind the front of the house.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, Kawhi. Patrick Beverley, you got to do a little better, my man. You got to look out for your guy. That's too funny. But it's out there. Just you can put Kawhi strip club, and I think it'll come out on Twitter, and you'll see it. And Kawhi's there. And the best part is, the dude went in a New Balance hoodie. He's not dressed right. He's just casual. He's plugging his sponsor. Okay. I don't know if he was plugging anything else while he was there at the strip club, but he was plugging the sponsor and having some fun, I would imagine. Kawhi Leonard at the strip club.
I feel bad for the guy. He's young. He's got money. Just let loose a little.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Look what happens.
Yeah. I don't care if you let loose, but be smarter, dude. Just get that's all I'm saying. Just get the
if you're gonna
go
do
to the
stuff like that,
champagne room
yes.
that nobody can see.
Incognito, brother.
That's it, man. Hey, Big O, I was reading Omar Kelly's tweet this morning, and he said Dolphins should trade up to 2 or 3, get Tua. I had to laugh about it. G from Pennsylvania. Well, listen, that's Omar's thing. Go for it. But I am not a fan of trading up for. I'm not going to trade up for an injury-prone player. So I don't know if he said that or not. But I'll tell you this: I would not be the guy that is trading for Tua. No way. If he falls to you at 5, I still don't want to take him. Okay, I'm on record. I'm not taking that guy in the first round. Maybe my 20-something pick, that third pick in the first round, if he falls to that, then maybe I can think about it. But I'm not taking a guy like that early because I just don't believe Tua's going to stay healthy. I don't. I'm terrified of that. And I get it. We're all jaded with the whole Breeze thing, but I'd rather you take a couple of other guys. That's why I said that if you are going to take 2 at 5, then draft another quarterback. You've got 14 picks, 12 on the team, 2 on quarterbacks. Take Anthony Gordon from Washington State later on. Take Jordan Love later on. Take Nate Stanley later on.
Davidson, Princeton.
Davidson later on. Give me another quarterback, another project that you can take just in case. So that way you walk away from the draft with 2 quarterbacks. And think about the history of taking 2 quarterbacks. You usually hit on one. at least. Washington took 2. They hit on 1 in Cousins. Dallas took 2. They hit on 1 in Troy Aikman. So nothing wrong with that. In fact, I want to say Green Bay one year, I want to say, you can look it up for me, I think they took Brian Braum and Matt Flynn in the same year. Not that you hit on either, but Matt Flynn got something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Did the Packers, man. Didn't they get something from Seattle?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, I think they might have gotten some from Seattle, or I think he signed as a free agent. But no, he signed as a free agent. They couldn't trade him. They wanted too much, I think it was. You can look it up. I forgot how it was. But I want to say Matt Flynn was a free agent signing and money. But Green Bay did get something because he had a couple of memorable – his best performances ever were in a Packers uniform, because I remember I had Dolphins that were wowed on the 2 performances. I was like, no, I'm not touching him.
I remember
I'm not touching him.
They had already got their spot in the playoffs. They shut everybody down. Flynn got to play. It was – what, 56? He put up 56 or so. It was some ridiculous number.
I think he even played earlier in the season. He had 2 games, and I think one of them was earlier in the season that actually meant something. And he played well. But it was just 2 performances that he knocked it out of the park. Yep. And I remember we had several Dolphins. You guys know who you are. You were calling me, texting me, all that. Oh, we got to get him. We got to trade for him. And I'm like, no. I'm not doing that. And sure enough, Flynn wasn't the guy, but they got something out of it, Green Bay. You know? So that's where I would tell you that I'm not for trading for Tua, up for Tua. I'm not even for drafting him. But if you're going to draft him, get another guy. Because if you draft him and he breaks down and Rosen hasn't taken that next step, no matter what anybody tells you, then where are you? You're back at 0 again. So take him. If you're so afraid of the Drew Brees crap, okay, take him at 5. But follow up with another player. That's all. Had to stop the Cameron Wolf interview after 1 minute because I have no patience anymore for those who think that drafting Tua with the 5th pick is a good idea. How can anyone think a guy who can't stay healthy in college survive in the NFL? Big O, just yell at them, Sam Bradford over and over. That's who Tua is. Look, man, just because I disagree in that point, I'm not going to scream at Cameron or you guys. Now, if you're being disrespectful, you're being an idiot or something, then maybe I can, lose my lunch a little bit on you. But, yeah, no, I'm just not a fan of drafting an injury-prone player. That's all. And I believe Tua is. But that's why, if you're going to draft him at 5, cover your ass. Take another guy. That's all I'm saying. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it. I didn't agree with Whiteside, but I understood. Okay? And anybody that was following back then, you know what I was saying. I was not a believer in Whiteside. I did not believe in his maturity. I did not think he deserved $100 million. But I understood why they did it, because they were afraid that they were actually developing something that was going to become special. That's all. Hey, I didn't agree with
special ed.
Yeah, I didn't agree with it, but I understood Chad Henne's draft. Not a Chad Henne fan, but at number 50, whatever it was in the second round, I understood that why you would take him there. That's all. Sometimes I get it. Now I don't have to agree with your thinking. So I understand the 2 at 5 thinking. And because we're so jaded with Drew Brees, this continues. That's all. It's pretty simple. It's a nightmare for us as Dolphin fans that we have to think that we've never recovered since Marino. And it's the truth, unfortunately. See what you got here. What do we have? I think most of this is you guys talking with each other. If you open channel EM, please let us know you got the goods. What is channel EM? What is that? What are you guys talking about? Is that like another conversation that I don't know about here that you guys are having?
It's not just your YouTube chat line, bro.
I guess
theirs.
so. I guess so, yeah. Kelvin Smith says they did draft 2 QBs that year. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it was Brian Brom and Matt Flynn. Yeah. And Brom obviously was nothing. And I think they were both late, I want to say. That's to me, that's what you do. If you're a good football team, you draft quarterbacks all the time. And when you're in the middle of the draft and you have scouted the quarterbacks and there's a couple of guys you really like, let me tell you something. You take it. I don't care if you have a starter. You take it. Because if you develop it into something, then you've got a trade chip. And that becomes really valuable. And God forbid your starter goes down and, wow, you're grooming another guy that could come in. And you know what? You never know if you draft a guy and your current starter ends up suffering some kind of a career-threatening injury during that season. And his career now is in doubt, and you had the foresight that you were drafting a quarterback to protect yourself or to keep the thing rolling, and now you're going to end up using that guy to be your starter. It's almost impossible to lose out outside of the pick being a failure. But if the pick is successful, you can win in so many ways. So why not have that philosophy part of your football team? Belichick does it. Ron Wolf did it forever with Green Bay. Nothing wrong with that, man. There really isn't. 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the show, we do want to remind you that Pallet Rack City is a proud sponsor of our program. And let me tell you, if your warehouse is looking a little disheveled, that's because you need a great rack. I mean, we all love great racks, right? Great racks look awesome. And so if your business, you got boxes stacked all over, it's unorganized, you want to organize everything, you call Eddie Pineda and all the great people at Pallet Rack City, 305-882-9212. That's your one-stop shop for all of your warehouse needs. They also sell pallet jacks, hand trucks, dock boards, and most packaging supplies. They also sell used forklifts and dock equipment, and they buy and sell new and used pallet racking. And folks, they've got the largest used racking inventory in South Florida. That's why I want you to call Eddie Pineda right now, 305-887-9212 for Pallet Rack City. All right. The one I got to tell you, the one thing that I don't want to disappoint you in is all-star talk. And what I mean by I don't want to disappoint you is I am not going to be talking about the All-Star much, to be honest with you. I'm not. I know that the hockey All-Star game is going on right now. I know that the football Pro Bowl is going on right now. Excuse me. And I just have no interest in any of it. I just don't. I don't know about you guys out there. I don't know how you ladies and you guys out there handle the All-Star game. I'll watch the baseball All-Star game. But when it comes to the football Pro Bowl, I think it's on today, right? I have no interest at all. It's crazy. I mean, I have interest in watching the Senior Bowl yesterday or the East-West the week before because those are players, those are draft picks, Those are kids that I want to see, and maybe the Dolphins draft any of those guys. I've gotten to see them personally now, all that stuff. So for me, there's a method behind the madness when I go see the East-West and when I see the senior, which, by the way, might be very boring for a lot of you out there. I mean, that's a lot of people aren't necessarily fans of that. So I understand. But it's one of those things where, and I don't know if it's because I'm the old man on the lawn or whatever, get off my lawn stuff, but the basketball all-star game means nothing. And so does hockey. And I know we've got our guys there, and one of our guys scored 2 goals yesterday, which was great. But it just does nothing for me. It's not, I'm just not I barely get entertained by preseason and NBA exhibition and all that kind of stuff. Even Major League spring training does nothing for me. So when I hear that these all-star games are going on, and I had like some guy send me a tweet, hey, are you watching this at the all-star game in the NHL? And I didn't even want to answer because I just didn't want them to I don't want to make somebody feel bad because it's not in my taste anymore. It's not in my wheelhouse. And it's weird. I don't know how many of you are like that. You can send it in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105. Those of you watching right now on YouTube, on the chat board, are you interested at all in any of these all-star games? And if you are, why? I would love to know why. What is compelling about it? I didn't even know about Lamar Jackson's disastrous performance in the Pro Bowl skills competition where he had to hit the targets. And please don't downplay that stuff and say, oh, well, Lamar didn't take that seriously. Oh, give me a break. They all take it serious. They're competitors, okay? NFL players, I've watched them in locker rooms. They go crazy on domino games, card games, a spitting contest. It doesn't matter what it is. Those guys don't like to lose. And watching, even going back in the day when they used to have those skills competition and it was Marino and those guys, they wanted to hit those targets. And Lamar, I think he and maybe his agent didn't think this through. Oh, that's right. He doesn't have an agent. It's his mom. He probably didn't think this through. And because he's got to know that his accuracy sucks. He's got to know that. And I know some of you are going to go, hey, did you watch his stats in football and all? Stats are misleading, okay? All right? When he's got design plays and design runs and all those kind of things, he does a pretty good job with the certain routes that they have him throw. They don't have him throw the whole route tree, okay? Let's just get that straight. So, and you saw it when Lamar, they took out the running game, he lost his crap. Okay, just like Ryan, just like Josh Allen, they're all the same. They're all the same kind of guy that, it is what it is. But I don't think he really thought it through. Bill, could you bring up the audio of Lamar Jackson and the guys talking about it? And here's the play-by-play. It's Tessitore and Booger McFarland. Now, I got to tell you something. Booger McFarland will have a job almost forever. Because here's a guy that rarely says anything controversial. Here's a guy that says a lot of silly-ass crap on the air. And he really, he plays the game of fluff like few have, let me tell you. John Gruden did it for a long time on TV because he always wanted another job, so he never was willing to call it like it is. And Booger McFarland in this play-by-play does not call it like it is. Let's go over this 1-minute disaster for Lamar Jackson in the skills competition. Go ahead.
Look, I'm always curious to see the strategy that guys go with here in precision passing. And you can see he wants the deep ball and those big points early on.
Yeah, he's trying to hit those corner routes down there, those 4-pointers. Typically, guys want to start with the 1-pointers, get some easy throws out of the way. Not Lamar, though.
Coming up short on those bucket tosses. And then he goes for the metronome, that 2-target metronome.
And missing that, too.
That cable line target for 5 points. So here he is a half minute into his 1-minute run and doesn't have a point.
But you can tell the confidence that he has because he's going for those deep ones. Maybe he's got to adjust the strategy a little bit.
You can tell the confidence he has. He's
through with that 4-target windmill. But this is looking like a struggle for the guy who was the breakout star in the league this year. Lamar Jackson off the rim of the 2-pointer.
Well, maybe they can design it.
Not only was he the breakout star, he's going to be the presumptive MVP, named at NFL honors. Just a tremendous season by this young man.
No doubt.
Final toss for Lamar Jackson. It's off the mark again. So not the start he was hoping for in precision passing.
Now, there was no precision in Lamar's passing, okay? I mean, you got to watch that video. Seriously. I have it there on my Twitter feed at Big O Show. It's embarrassing. I think blindfolded Marino would have hit more targets. I bet you if you allow Marino to just scan the field, then put on the blindfold, he will do better than Lamar did in that competition. Okay? Remember, I'm talking about a guy that used to warm up. Marino used to warm up like this. I can do this now. But with those of you on the podcast, you won't be able to do it. You have to go back to the video. But Marino used to warm up like this, okay? Guy'd be standing about, I'd say about 20 yards, something like that. And he'd warm up the arm, spin around. Then he'd go like this. Bam. And the ball would go straight out. He'd throw it behind him and over his back. And Ed Perry would be standing 20, 25 yards, and it'd hit him right in the center of the numbers. I'd never seen that before in my life. Okay? I mean, that just over his head, over the back of his head. I've never seen that before in my life. And it was a spiral, like a bullet. Okay? That's how he would warm up his arm.
We need to get ready for Will Carroll, sir.
Oh, yes. All right, let's do that. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Don't forget that, of course, we're out here at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealership. Come on out here. Give us a couple minutes, and we'll have Will Carroll on right here on the Big O Show. Do we have Will?
We have it working finally.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bluetooth.
Ah, there we go. Will the Thrill. I love it. All right, Will, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, other than freezing to death. I know that's not your problem down in Miami. You got everybody coming down there for the Super Bowl next week. Up here in Indianapolis, not quite so warm.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I would imagine when we're out there in late February, it's going to be really, really cold for the NFL Combine, like it always is, my brother. It's always nice. Indy, you love the part when you're walking through downtown, and it's not too bad, but then you turn a corner and you realize the building was blocking the wind, and then that wind comes screaming at you, and boy, it just slices you in half, brother.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of people remember when we had the Super Bowl here, and it was in the 50s. We got all the weather luck, so maybe we'll get that come February.
Yeah, dude, that's right. The Super Bowl week, that was. It was almost like the sports gods said, "All right, let's give them a break," and it was maybe the best week I've ever had up there in the winter in Indy.
Yeah,
I gotta say,
exactly. And following on Dallas, which couldn't deal with the weather they had the year prior, made us look even a little bit better.
Oh, no, way better. Dude, I was there. The mayor refused to use salt because she was worried about the roads. And meanwhile, all the roads were full of ice. My producer got sick. I had to go to a supermarket to go get him some medicine, and I watched 3 car accidents on my way there because people were hydrosliding on the damn ice. And they were going like 30, 40 miles an hour.
Nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah, they were doing like 30 or 40, but all of a sudden they hit a patch, and dude, they were just sailing right into walls. I must have gone less than 10 miles an hour to that market and back. Watching that, I said, no way, dude. I am not going at any speed whatsoever, and I stayed under 10 miles an hour. It took me like 40 minutes to get there and back, and it was only, a couple miles away, but that's because I was slow, man. Forget it. I wasn't going to lose it. All right, let's see. Talking about losing it, will San Francisco be losing Tevin Coleman this week to the shoulder injury?
In a normal week, if we were talking about, not even regular season, but, coming off a bye week into that first playoff game, no way. But this is a Super Bowl, so they're going to give him every shot. Now, they haven't talked about what they found in the MRI. Anytime you have a dislocation, there's two parts you have to deal with. First is the initial dislocation. When it's out, it's incredibly painful. You could see that. He didn't want to move. His feet just basically locked down, and he was like, you fix it here. And it took him a little while to get it back in, and that's a little bit worrisome because the second part is what damage was done. Shoulders are not supposed to dislocate. No joint is supposed to dislocate. Some people are looser than others. Kevin is obviously not one of them. So the question is, what stretched? What tore? The soft tissue is the longer-term problem. Can he play through it? That's the open question. We just don't know yet. We're going to have to watch it closely. Normally, no. Super Bowl, maybe.
All right. Quan Alexander with the pec. What's how is he? What's the latest? Is he all right for this game?
Maybe. This is essentially the J.J. Watt story without all the J.J. Wattism all over it. Why are we not saying, look at Quan Alexander doing the hagiographies on them, sainting them, letting them host Saturday Night Live, for God's sake. This is the same injury on virtually the same timeline, and he's coming back. So does that tell us, hey, maybe it took too long to come back? Because I've talked to physical therapists. I've talked to the surgeon who did J.J. Watt's pectoral surgery, and he says he did nothing different. So Alexander's out there. There is a significant chance it's going to re-tear, and if so, they just have to have the surgery again, and it's, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 8 weeks. Kind of the timelines are changing on it, but he's at no further risk than he was last week.
All right. I don't think there's any other serious injuries with them. On the KC side, I mean, these are kind of, I just got to ask about them, but Travis Kelce with the knee, expected to play, right? It's one of those deals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a knee. There's been a lot of discussion. Is it a bone bruise? It's not. It is an IT band, which is the iliotibial band, which is a fascia that comes from the hip all the way around the leg. And he's having tightness there. He's having some pain. They're having to roll it out. They're having to do a lot of therapy on it to get him comfortable. It's a longer-term problem, and it's not uncommon, but it's more of an annoyance than it is something that's going to keep him out. He's going to be able to be out there. If you watched him last week, he was running his routes, he was doing his things, and then he was limping back to the huddle. I think it's harder on him walking than running. He'll play effectively.
All right. And Jones, calf, he played last time, so I would imagine that he's going to be even healthier now by this point. Yeah. Is that true?
That's exactly right. He gets the extra week. He'll be ready to go, and you assume that the extra week is not only going to get him back to where he was last week, but maybe a little bit better. The bye weeks do help. We know that both during the season and that bye week that everybody's fighting for at the start of the playoffs.
Okay. Now, Zion, this drives me crazy, right? All these idiots are just making this big deal about his minutes and, well, when are they going to raise his minutes? And the guy's only played 2 games. They went from 18 to 21. It's like everybody else wants to be a freaking doctor, and they're not the ones rehabbing the kid. They're not the ones teaching him how to walk again and run the right way and land the right way and do all those things that they're trying to do with him. Can you explain to people that they're probably doing the right thing by this kid by, gradually bringing him along? Because It's almost like everybody else graduated from medicine, and they want to give this kid immediately 40 minutes, and when he blows out his leg, then we're all ripping the doctors for playing him for 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. You explained it as well as I can. The thing that you can tell, and this is the hard part, New Orleans is doing right by this kid. And if you take a look at Anthony Davis, who, once he's out of his rookie contract, he's out of there, that's likely the same fate. They might be saving, Zion for, I don't know, the Heat, maybe the Lakers. Who knows who will be the hot team in 4 years. But they are trying to change how he moves. And if you watched him the other night, he played pretty well, but he played like he was thinking about it. And then he had that burst in the fourth quarter where he was not. And he was playing naturally. And you can see what's there. If they can combine those two, if they can get this more natural, he's going to be amazing. So what they're doing is good for the league, and maybe not good for them. But the obvious talent is there. The worry is the knees long term. But a lot of people say, "Oh, he's too big." Favors is bigger than him. Nobody's worried about him just because he's not as explosive. I think the athleticism and all the work that Zion Williamson is putting in is really going to pay off. That kid's a talent.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that he is an absolute freaking talent, man. I just hope he can stay healthy. That to me is the whole key there. All right, let's move closer here to the Miami Heat. Kendrick Nunn, we hear the word Achilles, and it is scary. Should we be scared about this injury, or it's not a serious injury? What's the deal?
Any Achilles injury is serious. You have to worry about the ultimate problem. If it pops, then you're looking at 6 to 8 months. That'd be essentially the season peak into next year. It's not the career ender that it was not so long ago, but it's certainly not good. So anytime you see that there's even a minor strain there, you've got to take care of it. You've got to allow it to heal. You've got to try to see what you can do for it. Again, this is something that's fairly easy to visualize. A quick MRI, and you know exactly where it is. You can use ultrasound to check it day to day if you want. So catching it early is certainly better than catching it once it's popped and you're heading for surgery.
All right. Paul George, my brother, he's been out for several games with that hamstring. How bad is it?
Here's the thing with Paul George. You have to remember what he's been through. He knows how to rehab, and he knows where he is with that rehab. So he's taking his time. Again, it's a little bit of, hey, it's January. These games don't really matter, which is an NBA-wide problem. They want to make sure once he's healthy again, he stays healthy, make sure those muscles heal up properly. So there's just no rush to get him back. We're going to see a lot of this around the league. This is not just Paul George. This is not him playing diva, which he's perfectly capable of doing. This is just making sure the muscle heals up and taking the time off because, frankly, Kawhi's got it.
All right. I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I hear that the finger for Joel Embiid will now be used on all the signs that say dangerous curves ahead on the road there. So apparently he could be back next week. Is this something that could linger with that finger? What's the deal?
No. A dislocation is exceptionally painful. They're worried a little bit about the fact that the swelling didn't go down after they reduced it. I've probably told this story before on here, but when I was a freshman, I was playing JV quarterback, threw the ball, hit a helmet of somebody, probably my own teammate, and dislocated my index finger. It hurt so bad, I ran to the sideline. The coach popped it back in, and I realized I ran to the wrong sideline. You don't think about it. It just hurts. So when you see it bent off to the side like that, you know something's up. And again, just like with Tevin Coleman, what you're worried about is the soft tissue. His didn't, immediately, the pain was gone, but the inflammation stayed. So there's likely some tendon damage in there. They want to make sure that doesn't become a long-term problem. He has enough of those.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. All right. Well, if we don't have you on by next week, I'm just wondering, what is your Super Bowl pick, my man?
Yeah, I really think this is going to be a good game, but I think Pat Mahomes is just too good. I think it's going to be close, but I think Pat Mahomes is going to keep his team right there, won't let them fall behind. I worry for the 49ers that he could run away if they actually get off to a good start. But I think this is Andy Reid's, and I think this is Patrick Mahomes putting his stamp, saying, I am the best player in the NFL. Try to come get me.
All right. Hey, one more thing I got before I let you go. We had the East-West last week and the Senior Bowl this week, and obviously we got a lot of quarterback buzz down here. I would imagine that there's a lot of quarterback buzz over there, right? Jacoby Brissett is not considered the future. What do you think the Colts do with their first-round pick? Do you think they're looking to get a quarterback since there's so many quarterbacks coming out?
I don't. I don't think the quarterbacks they like are going to be available. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Jordan Love. He has the buzz right now. We'll see him at the combine here. Do you really love that guy after what was a down year? Yes, he's a talent. Yes, you can squint and see Lamar Jackson if you really want to. But I think what's going to happen here is they're going to have to wait and see if Anthony Costanzo comes back. If he decides to retire, which is likely, they're going to have to go out and get an offensive lineman. Next year is a pretty good quarterback class as well. So I think it's one more year of Brissett, and then they bring in their guy.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at Injury Expert. He is Will Carroll. Will, as always, man, studly stuff. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Otto.
You got it. There you go. Will Carroll, man, the Injury Expert, as always, bringing it. So Taylor Zarzour and Will Carroll. We will have, at 2 o'clock, Mark Lillibridge is going to join us. Former NFL player, scout, agent, personnel guys. He's done everything. Contract negotiator. He's done everything in the business. So we'll talk all things NFL with him. We'll get his thoughts on maybe some of the draft picks, what he thinks, the Super Bowl, some of the NFL topics out there. So we'll have some fun with him at 2 o'clock. At 1:30, Bob Fesco is going to join us from 610, Sports Radio 610 in Kansas City. So we'll talk a little Pat Mahomes with him. At 2:30, Patricia Triana is going to join us. I've had Patricia on my national show, actually, on Sirius. I've had her on several times. This is, I think, the first time I've had her here on this show. So looking forward to that. I want to talk to her a little bit about Eli and his retirement and where he stands, and get her thoughts on it also, because she's been covering Eli for a few years now. So we've got that. We've got 3 more guests for you on the program in the next 2 hours. So we'll have a little fun. We are out here till 3 o'clock. We're at Toyota of Hollywood, where we have 400,000 square feet, state-of-the-art facility, 0% financing for 72 months. They'll make your payments till 2021. So many great deals. That's why we want you to come on down to 1841 North State Road 7. And, of course, tell everybody out here, when you're out here, tell them that Big O sent you. Trust me, they will take care of you, okay? All right? We like it. It's a beautiful thing. What else do we have here on the show that we want to talk a little bit about? I wonder if I should get into the Dodger players here, because that was juicy yesterday, the Dodger players talking. You know what? I'm going to hold that off.
I was going to say, we've got about 5 minutes. That ain't going to do it justice, right?
Right. No, you know what? Let's hold off to the top of the hour for that one. But I will. Let's do this. Bill Self came out, and he addressed the Silvio De Sousa situation. And listen, I am not a fan of the way the Big 12 handled it, the suspensions that came down. To give Sousa only 12 games is an absolute joke. It really is. They gave De Sousa 12 games. They gave McCormick 2 games. On the K-State side, they gave James Love 8 and Antonio Gordon 3. Now, De Sousa, personally, I think should be kicked off the team. He's a one-and-doneer anyway. I want you to hear Bill Self, because Bill Self after the game sounded pretty disgusted with the act and everything that went on. And when you hear him now talk about this and talk about what De Sousa did, his stance completely changes from where he was after the game, that it felt like he was actually going to do something of substance. And Kansas has done nothing of substance. They have stayed behind whatever the Big 12's call was, which was only a mere 12 games, which allows DeSalza to come back for the end of the season and the tournament. Let me play this soundbite so you can hear Bill Self, and I'm going to tell you what I think is really going on. Go ahead.
I know this: if my son or daughter makes a bad emotional decision and a mistake, I know one thing: I'm not going to quit loving him, and he's ours, and I'm proud that he is. What people think has nothing to do with my decision. Zero. The fact that somebody, after watching it one time and everything, can make a decision, this is exactly how it's going to be, that doesn't impact what I do at all. Nobody's going to pressure me into doing something unless I feel like it's right for Kansas basketball.
Well, DeSalza is part of this shoe scandal also, okay? I don't know if I got a feeling. This is a guy that I mean, his demeanor, his face, the way he was distraught from everything that went on after that game, it looked like he was actually going to take a hardline stance here. And now he comes out, well, we're going to love him, and he's one of ours, and if it was one of my kids, and all of that stuff, right? I just think there's too much dirt. That's all. I just think that DeSalza and Kansas are involved in so many other things that, if you go hard after this kid and you crap on him now, then how are you going to be able to do this again down the line with other kids? Because they're going to see that, right? They're going to see how you treated your best player and that you weren't backing him in his moment of need, supposedly. Plus, that player probably has been involved in some foo stuff along with the school. That's the impression I get, man. That here's a guy that maybe wanted to get rid of him, but really can't. And maybe the school wanted to get rid of him, but they can't. And I don't know, maybe the Big 12 also wants to protect their conference and one of their marquee teams so they don't get into, because they already have the other issue going on. Now you add this, it compounds everything.
So in other words, protect the kid so he doesn't go run his mouth? Is that what you're kind of
No, it's
connecting?
It's protect the, yeah, yes, protect the kid so he doesn't run his mouth about.
And totally spill, and now you're really.
Right. Now you've got a real issue because he won't have any issues.
You know what I didn't like that he says?
It's not jail. It's nothing. He just walks away, and it becomes all kinds of.
Here, I go to the NBA.
And that's where he's headed anyway. That's where he's headed anyway. So what's the big deal?
You know, it's the thing I didn't like. He says, "How can you make a judgment on watching this once?" The guy has a stool over his head, and he's ready to come down and level somebody.
And
thank God.
And he was going to do it.
Yes.
He was going to do it because you watch his face and his rage. If that assistant coach does not save his ass, it's over. And then we're kicking him out.
And we can't figure this out with seeing it the first time? Really? You can't figure that out.
No, it's Bill self-protecting his program. That's all. That's the impression I get. Whether it's true or not, those are the optics. Okay? So anybody listening or watching from Kansas basketball, these are the optics. You're a cheater. You're involved in that shoe scandal. Now the same player that's involved in that shoe scandal is also involved in this. And you bailed him out by ripping that chair out of his arms. Because if you don't rip that chair, he slams somebody. And then what? That's one of the things that I cannot stand about our society. We are a reactionary society. We are not precautionary. Ever. We had a bunch of dudes with bombs in a van at the World Trade Center years ago, and they were unsuccessful. And what did we do? We never followed up with any more preventive measures after that. We kind of blew it away and said, just sweep it under, no big deal. And before you know it, a couple years later, towers go down. Because we didn't take proper precautionary measurements. Okay, well, they're going after us. We got to do something. And then all the stories come out about the signs were there and all that. Well, we did nothing. Now we're trying to be as preventive as possible about this kind of stuff. Well, why weren't we from the get-go? Well, here's your opportunity to send a message and say this behavior will not be tolerated. And the other thing is, that was a violent way he was going to end things. That's how he thinks. And just because you ripped the chair out of his arms doesn't make it that he didn't do it. He was going to do it. That he was going to be guilty of that, of hitting somebody with a chair, which Lord knows where we were going after that.
There's malice intent all over his face, man.
Give me a break. He's one of ours. Well, you can have him, dude. You can have him, bro. I mean, if that's what you want to run your program, those are the kind of people you want on your program, then go ahead. That's what you're going to recruit. That's what you're going to bring on your campus. You know, does he get violent with anybody else? Go ahead. And if something happens from here until he leaves, it's on you now. You know, but it just, the optics are that you're protecting something. That's what it feels like. Just does. All right, let me tell you about VSS West Pines, man. We love talking about VSS West Pines. Alex, Tommy, Jose. Listen, Jose, we got two Jose's. We got the manager, Trex, and we got the dude. We've also got, we also call him Nugs too, right? Because he's kind of Jose 2.0. We got Sasha, the responsible one. Get on down to VSS West Pines. They've got a wide variety and excellent selection of cigarillos. By the way, the largest variety of roll-your-own cigars, rolling papers like raw, smoking, hookahs, all price ranges from $19.99 and up. They even have the Khalil Mamoon, Egyptian-made. They've got that hookah there. They've got CBD, flower, tinctures, edibles from chocolates, gummies, jelly beans, ice cream, women's face masks, CBD topicals, transdermals. Call, or better yet, go to vsswestpines.com. Follow them on Instagram and Twitter, and make sure, most of all, you tell them that the Big O Show sent you. VSS West Pines.